Elise Boulding, who was one of the first founders of the field of peace. Elise Bjorn Hansen, also known by her married name Elise Boulding, was a sociologist, pacifist, feminist, and scholar who spent her life writing books and articles about conflict and peace resolutions, not only for personal matters, but as well as global. She had helped establish the academic field of peace studies. A little about her background. Elise was born in Oslo, Norway in 1920. When she was only just 3 years old in 1923, she immigrated to America with her parents. She became a Quaker, which is also known as the Religious Society of Friends, in May of 1941. This is where she met her husband, Kenneth Boulding, marrying him later that same year. They wound up having 5 children. This is where Elise Boulding got a majority of her ideas for peace and conflict. In the Journal of Conflictology, on page 5, they wrote, "In order to encourage a wider peace and conflict resolution processes, she introduced this idea of imaging the future, a powerful way of enabling people to break out of defensive private shells into which they retreated often out of fear of what was happening in the public world. She encouraged people to participate in the building of a peaceful and tolerant culture. Boulding developed the idea of international peace culture. Her theory and practice exemplified peace. Elise Boulding believed that the education of peace should be taught throughout all levels of education, for it not only to be national, but international as well. Peace should be taught over centuries through every culture, state, class, race, age, and gender. It should not matter who you are. You need to be knowledge of peace and conflict resolution." Aside from her study for peace, she also had her study of women history. In her book, The Underside of History, that she wrote in 1976, it presented a feminist project to abolish structural and behavioral aggression against all women and to establish equality through genders. She wrote in her book, "Back in the 1960s, we were beginning to uncover data that showed the amount of basic work on the planet that was being done by women. 80% of the farming was being done by women, and anything that had to do with protecting the environment, such as the forest or water." She suggested we concentrate on 3 things. First is to make intensive demonstrations of what women actually do, because such things you do not read in the newspaper or watch on television. Second is to mobilize a public peace process to change how people view things. Third is to intensify the special peacemaking programs that have developed in a growing number of schools. Such skills should be not only taught but developed from kindergarten on. Elise Boulding died June 24, 2010, in Needham, Massachusetts, At the age of 89, the cause of her death was thought to be liver failure. But her daughter Christine had also mentioned that she had Alzheimer's disease. Her spiritual roots were in the values and testimonies of Quakers, especially simplicity, peace, integrity, community, and equality. She believed that God was in us all and lived life with an inner light.